everybody, thanks for coming to check out part 3 of the smoker build. If you saw the end of part 2, I know I said that I'd be making the smoke box and doing some other stuff for this video. Unfortunately, I dropped the ball and didn't get all the parts ready in time to do that. So instead, I am going to show you how I finished making the door for the smoker. I did get all the parts together for that. And Adam will be back today to help me out, so let me show you how I did it.
To start this one out, I am tacking on 3 4-inch wide hinges to the top of my door to later attach to the tank. After the first video where I showed you how I braced the door and put that outside door sill on, I didn't double check it, which is on me. I definitely should have, but I then realized later that the door had opened after I cut it, so it didn't match the contour of the tank at all. So Adam and I went through and tried to figure out how to fix it, did a whole bunch of other things. Since we were just kind of trying to figure out the problem, I didn't think ahead to the fact that, oh right, I should probably record the things that we're doing. So unfortunately, I didn't record the couple little steps that we did to fix the door, but I do show you later what I added, but right now I'll tell you how we did it. I added an angle across the top side of the door to reinforce it since it wasn't sitting flat. After we did that, it kind of helped, but the door was still too wide. So we ended up taking a 2x2 tube, putting it on top of that angle, and put the whole door straight in my vise and slowly pulled down on the door to give it a little crimp. So hopefully it would match back to the tank so it would seal and keep all the smoke in. Luckily, we got it close enough that I felt like after everything was put on and welded, we'd be good. So I am going through and welding all of the hinges to the door. Then I will take the door back over to the tank and Adam is going to help me line it up and get everything tacked on. Once I placed the door back on the tank, I realized that welding all of the hinges to it actually really helped me out flattening the door. So all I have to do is put a little bit of pressure on the hinges to make sure they're flat to the tank when I tack them on so I can get a good nice weld on them later. Unfortunately, the center one gave me a little bit of trouble. I couldn't quite push it down, so I thought, let's grab the heaviest hammer I have, set it up there, and then I just had to put a little bit of pressure on, and it flattened out nicely. Now that I have everything tacked to the tank, I checked to make sure that it still opens without any issues. Everything seems fine, so I'm going to go through and weld all the hinges on. Then I'm going to move on to putting on the handle. After the welding, I wanted to give it one more check to make sure the hinges weren't hanging up at all and the door would open and close properly. But now I'm going to point out the things that I added before these two outside braces and this, 1/8 inch angle across the entire door that unfortunately I didn't record. So that's what I did. And we're going to move on to putting the handle on now. I didn't stop recording between shots, so I caught Adam dancing in the background, and he realized and asked, "Wait, you can edit all that out, right?" And I said, of course I can. I'm not gonna, but yeah, I could have. Luckily, he is a nicer friend than I am, and as I held the handle in place, he put a few tacks on it so I didn't have to try to balance everything perfectly by myself. I'm going to add a couple more tacks, get it all welded on, and then I will show you how I added the temp gauges. I wanted to put the temp gauges at the center of each of the lower trays. Unfortunately, when I put the bracing in the back of the door, it occupied the same space, so I had to move them over slightly. So Adam and I measured out to make sure we kept them even, well, as close to even as I could. And now I'm going through and drilling all the pilot holes to get up to the 5/16 hole diameter that the gauges actually need to fit. These are the gauges that I will be using. I thought that they fit, the aesthetic of the rest of the project the best out of all the options I saw online, so those are the ones that I'm going with. I did realize, though, after trying to drill the actual 5/16 hole, yeah, you see all that smoke? I burned up this bit. It's the only one I had, so just use more force. Eventually it'll work, and I'll go get a new one at some point. I finally got the holes drilled out. I am not going to leave the gauges in, but I wanted to be able to show you what the entire setup will look like with all of the components. So I am going to go through and put the gauges in for now. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Adam. Didn't realize that you had done that. All right, we're even. We are even. I showed people you're dancing, and you got me with some bubble wrap. Well, okay, we're even. So as I was saying, I am going to put the gauges in now to show you what everything looks like, but I will be taking the gauges back out for paint and all the other steps that I need to do. But for right now, I wanted to show you the whole thing all put together. The last step I'm going to show you today is putting on the 2 door latches that I went online and got for this project. If you saw the smoker project that I did before all of this, I showed you that I made custom door latches, but this time I decided to make my life a little easier and just buy some. I'm going to finish getting everything tacked and welded on, then I will show you how I adjust the catches on the door to make sure it has relatively a tight seal on the actual door. Now that it's all welded, you can see that there's still a little bit of play in the door, and I was hoping to get rid of some of that give by just bashing in the catch a little bit, so when you actually flip the latch, it forces the door down a little bit, and I think it'll work. Otherwise, when I'm done with everything, they make smoker gasket to really seal it all up. Hopefully we won't need it, but it is an option if it comes to it. And that will wrap up all of the actual building for the door. We are going to now remove it, so everything that I have left to do on this project will be quite a bit easier without having all of the weight and then the potential of the door swinging open. So we're going to take it off, put it back aside, and that'll wrap up this video. So thank you for coming to check it out. If you enjoyed what I did here today, like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.